All right, welcome to the final series of videos, and this time we're talking about money, the monetization process, which is probably the most fun for most of you. If you reach this point and you've done everything well, then you're about to make cash. And let's face it, that's a big reason why you're here, a big reason why you're probably into blogging and doing anything on the internet is to get some sort of financial return for your effort. It may not be the only reason, but it's usually a mandatory component of your motivation, and it certainly is for me as well. So now this monetization process is actually reasonably simple in the sense that it will happen very easily without much constraint if you did everything to this point well. So we've talked about how to write powerful content, how to set up your blog so it's by default ready to go and get traffic for you, and then how to make more effort to market that content and bring traffic to you and attract an audience. So if you've combined this powerful concept of content plus marketing, which will get you traffic, then we're going to take that traffic and actually make some money from it. And this series of videos will show you how to do that. Okay, now with anything you do on the internet, it's almost always about building a continuous contact point with an audience, because it's your power over people, your influence, your ability to say something and have them react in a certain way that gives you the ability to make money. Traditionally on the internet, the most effective way of realizing that outcome has been through email marketing. And I've mentioned email marketing earlier on as a great thing to do to build an email list from your blog. If you have a blog with a solid readership and a solid subscriber base, so that you're subscribing to your blog through maybe RSS, or they're just direct bookmarking your blog and coming back on a regular basis, that's fantastic. What you also want is an email list. And if you have those two assets in tandem, you can really make some significant money. So I'm just mentioning this now because if you aren't already doing it, it's a good idea for you to actually start building that list as soon as you can. And it's simply a case of putting some kind of little opt-in box that lets people put in their name and their email address and then click submit, and then they join your newsletter. Maybe you give them a free report, maybe an e-course, some sort of incentive for them to join that newsletter. Put that box somewhere at the top of your blog on the left or the right side, and that's really the foundation for building that list, and that will give you what you need to start making money. But we're going to start at the beginning of this process, and obviously if you're watching these videos, at the very least right now you have a blog, so we're going to use that as our foundation for making money from the internet. Now, to teach you how to do this, there are two methodologies, the two concepts I use, which helps to clarify what it is and how it is you make money from your blog. The two models are the magazine model and the sales funnel model. So these are just two different styles of making money. We're going to focus on the magazine model first, and then we're going to move on to the sales funnel. Now, when I say the magazine model, that simply means your blog is like a magazine. Magazines make money because they have advertisers. The basic concept here is your blog attracts attention. You get an audience, just like a magazine has a readership. You then sell the rights to access that audience to sponsors. Now, the sponsors are companies that have a product or a service they want to sell. They want to get that in front of a certain type of audience who then buys. So they pay you money for the right to get in front of your audience. That is essentially all the magazine model is. Just like a magazine, a blog is a similar type of concept, a similar type of way of making money. The other model, the sales funnel model, is a little bit more traditional direct response marketing style of business. All this means is you're going to be selling a product, maybe a low, cheaper product, and then a higher priced back-end product, and take it even further and further. You can have quite a product suite of different products at different pricings. That's how it looks like a funnel. So you got a low one, smaller price products at the top, and it expands down with different price products as you're going along. That's usually more advanced, and you may not be ready to do that right now, but we're still going to talk about that. But first, let's look at how you can make money using the magazine model. All right, let's begin with taking a look at how we use the magazine model for making money with your blog. The most common system of doing this is what's called contextual advertising. And you already know what this is. It's Google's AdSense program. At least that's one example of contextual advertising. There are others. You can use Yahoo's Publisher Network. You can use Chitika or Chitika, depends how you say that one, or Widget Bucks, or many other numerous other contextual advertising systems. Now, the reason why they're called contextual is because they fit within a context of the content on your site, and it attempts to get a relevant advertisement within the context of the content you produce on your blog. So if you have a blog that's written about cars, then it's going to get an advertisement for a car and place that within that content. Obviously that helps because it's more likely someone will then click that advertisement and maybe even make a purchase or lead to some sort of transaction. So that's good for you because you get paid with contextual advertisements usually one of two ways: when someone clicks an advertisement or when someone does something after clicking an advertisement, either makes a purchase, opts into a list, does something, and that's what that advertiser is willing to pay money for. So with contextual advertising, this is usually the first place most people begin testing the monetization process of their blog. It's actually quite easy. You just go to Google, log into Google's AdSense system, and once you set yourself up with an account, they'll give you a piece of code, which you take that code and place it on your blog, and it starts showing these little boxes that have advertisements. Someone clicks the box, you get paid some money. Now, it can be quite complex to describe the entire AdSense system in its nature, a little bit too much for this video, but basically in a nutshell, that's how it works. Get some code, put it on your site, put it wherever you want the banners to appear. People click the ad. Depending on what the ad's for, you'll get paid a different variable. It's usually somewhere between 5 cents to $10. It's very unlikely though that it's more than $1. It's usually somewhere between $0 and $1 per click. And then if you get enough clicks, you get a lot of money. Some blogs do really well with this, some blogs do okay. It's usually the place you start testing. My blog, not so good. Some other blogs, usually consumer product blogs, are very good. Things like anything you buy, digital cameras, computer equipment, electronic equipment, anything that's physical that has lots of products to purchase. That type of content usually leads to lots of clicks because it's a commercial element to that makes it more profitable. That being said, you don't know until you test. So that's why I recommend, as a very first starting point, you go to Google, create an AdSense account, and test out the copy there. If it works for you, you can also try the other systems I mentioned before: Yahoo, Chitika, Widgetbucks, etc. Now, to help you with this process, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some very basic tips to increase the money you get back from Google's AdSense network. Now, the thing with this is, you're trying to increase the number of people who click these advertisements, but it has to be genuine clicks from genuine people. You can't just go in there and click it yourself. You're going to get banned from the system. So to encourage this, there's a few very basic things that as a whole generally work better for most sites that use Google's AdSense. They are, when you put the ad on your site, they usually have a border around it. You can actually switch that border off within Google's system. So if you switch that border off, the text will look less it doesn't stand out as much. It doesn't have the differentiation between normal content versus advertising content. It's also a good idea to put a natural blue hyperlink. So with the Google AdSense system, you can change how links look, what color they are, and as always, the more it looks like a normal link, it's not pink or green, it's a blue hyperlink. That's what people expect on the internet. The more likely people will click. The idea here, it's blended advertising. Blended advertising is usually the better way to get a better performance from your contextual advertising because it doesn't look like advertising. It just looks like some sort of content that the person wants to click and read more about. That usually, this is not a rule that goes across the board, but most of the testing I've done and most of the information out there you'll read about, blended advertising will do better. One last tip on that. When an advertisement is within content, it usually performs better as well because it appears at the hot spot of an article. So usually, for most blogs, the best performing advertising unit, if you're going to make use of Google AdSense and a contextual system, is to put the advertisement right at the start of your blog article. Usually a box aligned to the right of the article, and that's the hottest spot on your blog. Now, that's been backed up by all kinds of tests they've done to see where people's eyes go on the website, and it's always in usually the top section of the site, left, right column, somewhere around there. That's where the hottest spot of a blog is, and that's where the most people view, therefore more likely to click advertisements. Now, there's a lot of research you can do into effective contextual advertising and making more. The trick with this is to test it first. Put some ads on, see if you make any money. If you can make $5 a month, sorry, a day, $5 a day, $10 a day, it can add up to quite a lot of significant income. And if you're doing that well, then maybe a bit of tweaking here and there can double or triple how much money you get. Unfortunately, with systems like this, it's usually very much dependent on the amount of traffic you get. So the more traffic you have, the more clicks you could potentially get and the more money you can make. That can be an issue, especially if you're going for a very focused niche. So I do recommend you just test this and see how it goes. It's a good starting point. There's one big problem though with contextual networks. If you do get good results with it, in most cases, you're actually leaving money on the table. Why I say that is because if you can get paid an amount of money for a click, then the advertiser is making more money on the other end, which means you probably could be making more money too by possibly selling their product as an affiliate, because a commission on a sale is usually a lot more than a click. You know, you might get 50 cents for a click in an advertisement, but you get $25 as an affiliate for selling that product. So it only takes 2 or 3 sales to far surpass the number of clicks you get from Google AdSense. But we'll talk about that in the next section when we look at affiliate marketing.